everyone, welcome back to Novel Nomad and welcome to the last wrap-up mini review for Quarantineathon. Now, I have absolutely loved doing this readathon just because, one, it has made me read some books off my shelf that I've been meaning to get to for such a long time, and two, I have discovered so many books that I absolutely adore, and probably the number one being the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. Now, this has been on my satellite TBR to read for a while. Then I finally bought a copy for myself and I found it really cheap in a secondhand store. Did I read it? No, I did not. So this was absolutely fabulous. This was for prompt 4, and that was to read a book featuring something that you're missing. And I am really missing meeting up with all my beautiful friends and all my other bookish friends for the 3 book clubs that I attend every month. So we've been doing FaceTime, so there hasn't been that severe lack of connection, but just that getting together, chatting, and just seeing everyone is something that I've dearly have been missing. So this book is actually an epistolary novel, which means it's all written in letters, and it is absolutely brilliant. I was a bit concerned about it at first because the main epistolary novels that I've loved have been Evelina and things that were written back in like the 1700s and early 1800s. I haven't read a modern one. And this was absolutely brilliant. It worked perfectly because you really got to understand the voice of the people who were writing to each other and all their more intimate concerns that they will share with different people and different friends. And so you start out with Juliet Ashton, who is a writer. She's touring around and she draws the attention of a very wealthy American man who just loves her novels, but at the same time, he also loves to have her because she's pretty and loves to have her on his arm and have that kind of attention when he goes out. But Juliet is a little bit of a romantic, so she's always wanted to be together with someone who she's comfortable in their silences as well as their discussions. So Mark Reynolds is not quite doing it yet, Markham Reynolds, but she also at the same time gets a letter from a Dorsey Adams who lives on Guernsey, and he actually got her secondhand copy of Charles Lamb, Essays of Elia, and he read that during the war, and part of his Guernsey Literary Potato Peel Pie Society they discussed it. And so I really think it was a really fascinating concept to share the love of books, because so many books and writers do love to share that passion of books, but I think this is done by a 70-year-old librarian who unfortunately passed away before the book was published in such a beautiful way, because it's sharing about what books give to people, and there's so many different experiences that people share throughout the novel of their reading, like things that they hated, things that they loved, things that they completely and utterly disagreed with, or things that they believe don't really adhere to a modern retelling or a modern reading of it. So I just absolutely loved it. It felt like you were such a part of the community. I really did feel that Juliet was my friend, or I did really wish that I could just write a letter to her. I think she was just one of those beautiful characters. She had such a beautiful voice. It was so much fun as well reading from her perspective, but it was overall such a stunning read. I think the structure really sold it to me. The letters, they just took me to another place, and I couldn't help but giggling at different shared experiences. And there was also telegrams in there, and towards the end we have a diary and entries, and that was absolutely fabulous. I really feel like I want to go to Guernsey. I want to meet Ursula, Evan Ramsey, Dorsey and Juliet and Amelia, and just to get to understand these beautiful people even more, because it was almost as if we were privileged enough to have a taste of their experience. In regards to post-Second World War novels, I thought this was done really well, because you had this idea, it's like 1946, it's just after the war. It's not really, they're trying to rapidly move away from their experiences in the war. So you have the Markham Reynolds set, who are wealthy, they're able to go out to all the cocktail parties and have fun and go dancing and being seen in the social pages, where Juliet is feeling a little bit more melancholy because she experienced loss during the war. She lived in London during the Blitz, and so to kind of, as she says, which is quoted not in the book but also in the movie, to come out of a dark tunnel and into a carnival, she says it's overwhelming. which is completely understandable because you're trying to like bury this trauma away. And so I think that's why the people on the Guernsey island who were under Nazi occupation, they are still trying to deal with that trauma, and they're not belittling it with all these, like, this big grandeur of parties. So that's why I think there's such connection there. But there's also so much humanity and flawed humanity being expressed in this, which is stunning, because it's not just putting the onus of all the evils of the war onto the Germans. It is actually saying Germans were humans too. Not everyone was evil, but they had their orders, just like we would have had our orders in the army as well. So it was a good book to kind of really muddy the waters in that kind of good versus evil, or that, you know, white and black kind of view of the war, which I thought was brilliant. But yeah, overall, I really thoroughly love this book. I cannot recommend it enough. If you like World War II or historic fictions that you just want to sink into and love and adore every single character, pick up this book. Now, I do know some people have said the ending was a bit rushed. I felt it felt very much like a Jane Austen ending, in which she kind of mimicked a little bit or mentioned slightly towards the end. So I felt it was very in keeping with that English tradition of that kind of beautiful society novel. But yes, absolutely adored it. Cannot recommend it enough. Please, please, please go pick up a copy if you just want a little bit of escapism and whimsy for your reading pile. Alright, so that is the end of Quarantineathon. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know down below what you read for prompt 4, or what you read over the course of the month. And this was so much fun. I will be doing a month-long wrap-up soon. I still got 2 days. Today is Saturday. I've got tomorrow. I'm desperately going to try and finish as many books as I possibly can. But until next time, happy reading. Bye!